So what I thought I'd do today at this stage, while we're here, I will concentrate a bit on the perspective of the cobbled area here and perhaps part of the pavement as you go along. I'll construct it, it'll take a little bit of time, a bit of working out, but this is the way I would do it normally, and that's the way, if you follow me with this is the way I will I'd carry on generally. So here we go. I find a spot really which is the vanishing point, as I have here for the rest of it going that way. I need to go that way, but we don't want it too acute and we don't want it too square, so I'm looking at somewhere around here as a vanishing point. So I'll get my trusty marl stick and I'll continue. These are just lines at the moment, obviously, but this is the way it starts, and later on what I'll do is these lines, although they're only guidelines, they will vanish as I paint, you know, apply paint over the top of these lines, but I need this as a guideline to start off with. And the nearer we get to, I've started it here because it seems a good place to start round about the middle, and then I'll follow through later. What I was going to say, the nearer we get prospectively, is the cobbles recede, obviously they get smaller and smaller, so the gaps between the cobbles, the lines, become, between the sets as they're called, become wider and wider. Not too much, but you know. Bit boring, this bit. I do so much of it, and then I won't go through it all because it will take time, and I'll do it in sections just to show you what I would normally do. Thing to be aware of is we don't want it too acute, the angles on it, so that we don't want it drifty. You've got to keep in mind where the vanishing point is. So if you go too far one way or the other, it'll look like it's the whole ground is slanting where it shouldn't be. So perspectively it has to be correct at this point. You can bend perspective a little, and I do often, but this is a bit of an important point, a bit of an important part of the painting. you know, it's not a magic formula, it's just bearing in mind where your vanishing points are, and the older you get, the more your hands shake, so the more we use these marl sticks, my faithful marl stick. The thing about it is, it looks, and it is pretty uniform at the moment. These granite sets, as they were never that uniformly enough, but you know, they were up and down, they were at a bit of an angle, etc. But you have to have a base to start from, and that's what I'm doing. It's a foundation for the events that take place in the painting later on. So you get the drift with this, rather than carry on straight through with it for now. I'll just do a little bit on the pavement, the sidewalks colour, and just shows you perspectively how that carries on through there. So bear with me. Vanishing points here for everything coming this way. show you the other vanish point, whereas obviously all this has to follow through, basically. Let me just stand back and have a look. If you go over the top of the work too much, it can often go wrong. So a vanishing point here again, we're looking at these sets are more a bit like this. I'll start somehow like this, come along like this, and go on and on and on and on and on through it that way. And come back to it later on when I've done a bit more of it, so you don't get too bored. How's that? Also, I'm just chilling. See you later. Bye.